And we are so thrilled now to be joined by Chris Nurse, who gets set to coach the U15 squad coming up this season. Chris, thanks so much for hopping on and joining us. I'm sure it's so cool to see some of those clips from those celebrations. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
But Chris, I'm curious, you're getting ready to start a new season. What is the life of an academy coach like?
I think the main thing is to always keep developing. I think as you transition from a player into coaching, it's important not just to rely on your playing background. So just to keep developing, keep growing it, and keep learning, I think is the main thing. And I think for myself now, obviously, I understand the game, I know the game, but it's learning more to become of an educator more so than a trainer and just a coach. So learning the different ways of educating kids and helping them to develop, learn, and retain information.
Chris, I look at you as someone that's developing the new heartbeat, the new kids that's coming through, that's loving the football in this country, right? And I see the World Cup champions over your shoulder. We've only 12 months to go until what's going to be the most exciting time in US history in terms of football here. What are you seeing from the next generation in terms of their excitement for the game?
Yeah, I think the excitement is there. The kids are so excited, and I think it's unspoken the value that Messi's brought to soccer in the US. But I think there's now becoming a shift in mentality where the game means a lot more to these players, and they understand from a work rate standpoint, they understand a little bit more from mentality and having more passion in the game. And I think that's the next level that the game is growing on, because I think in the US, there's tons of talented players because they play on fantastic surfaces from a young age. But now the connection is starting to grow there between the intensity, the mentality, and the passion.
Chris, you mentioned Lionel Messi, and you can't mention Messi without the World Cup and also Inter Miami. We all know him as a footballing icon on the pitch, but you get to interact with him in a different role as a soccer dad. What is he like in that role, watching his sons being coached and guided by a very successful coach like you?
I think the main thing is his sons are in the younger ages, so although we interact because everybody's close to each other, they have different coaches. But I think just from an off-the-field example, he's there and present with his kids at every single practice. And I think sometimes as parents, coaches, we can get busy in our own lives and forget how important it is to be there for your kids. And I don't think there's anybody else with a busier schedule than him, but he's so present every practice, every game. I think it sets a great example for parents.
It also adds a really interesting wrinkle. I mean, a lot of us grew up playing the game. I don't remember any player or former player even remotely famous who had kids playing in that same club or academy setup. So how protective do some of the coaches and Inter Miami as a whole and the academy need to be of Lionel Messi's kids? And I know some other players as well who have kids in the academy.
I mean, I don't think they protect them. I think it's just a case of providing them the safest and the best experience that they can and allowing them to grow and enjoy the game just like any other kid.
Chris, you know what I always say? Like, when you look at this list, and coaching is coaching regardless of where you are in the world, but coaching in Miami just feels like it's got an extra little va-va-voom to it. It feels like it's a little bit nicer. You must wake up every day and think to yourself, look at this sunshine, look at these kids that I get to play with and all the rest. But what is the biggest differences in terms of where you are now, in terms of Inter Miami and what you've learned in this structure here?
I think Miami is such a hub of so much different ethnicities and nationalities that you get to understand and learn the game from so many different perspectives. Whether it's the Argentinian approach, whether it's the Austrian approach, Brazilian approach, Venezuelan approach, British approach, it's such a merge of so much different cultures that it's just an environment where you're always learning. Whether you're playing in an elite environment, whether you're playing in the park or five-a-side with friends, there's so many different cultures blended together that it just makes the game so much more exciting.
Chris, it's so unique to see the blend of cultures in Miami. Obviously, you have the Argentine contingent, Spaniards, and people from so many different backgrounds, right? What sort of impact has the first team experience of being within touching distance as an academy player, an academy coach, to Lionel Messi, to Jordi Alba, to Sergio Busquets, having on the academy players themselves?
Yeah, I think it's tremendously inspiring. And I think the way that the club is set up, there's nothing really hidden. So the academy players, especially the older ones, they can watch training as they're coming in after they finish their sessions. Nobody restricts them. So they have the opportunity to watch and learn, and the intelligent ones do. You'll see them pitched up at the side of training. They'll be watching the movement. They'll be watching first touches. They'll be watching the communication. And they're picking up things that are invaluable. In most professional environments, you don't get the opportunity to be so close to the first team and to see how they interact. And it's really the small things that have a big impact on the player's trajectory. So having the opportunity to be so close and to see some of the world's greatest players in their prime, well, when they were in their prime, is a tremendous asset to our club.
And one of the beneficiaries of that is the hometown talent, Benjamin Cremaschi, who just got that move to Parma. I mean, what did you see from him? And what do you think his potential and his ceiling is with what he's shown so far?
Yeah, I think as a youth coach, you're not always going to have the opportunity to coach players who go to professional. And I think his mentality, his work rate is tremendous. And I think that's why he's had the success that he's had under so many different coaches, over 100 MLS appearances at just 20 years of age. He's won Leagues Cup, he's won the regular season. For 20 years old, he's accomplished so much. And I think it's only the beginning for him. I think he's still got a lot to learn in his trade. And I think he's going to continue to improve because his mentality is so good.
Okay, that's got to be so cool for you too. I mean, do you have got the Parma kit ordered already? So like, what's this going to be like?
No, I mean, it's fantastic. You know that the ups and downs of being a player, it's not always going to be ups and downs. So it's important to be there to support him through the good times and the bad times. He's going to experience a whole different environment now. So it's going to be interesting to see how he handles it, but I think he's going to be just fine.
Chris, can I ask you the question that the rest of the public want to know? Like everybody at home is sitting there. Like, what's David Beckham really like? Like really and truly, the day to day when he walks in, does he like glide when he walks into the room? Is his suits always fitted? Like, what's David Beckham like when you actually get an opportunity to interact with him?
I mean, I think everybody knows Beckham is such a cool guy, and it was really nice. He sent us a good luck message before we played in the final of Next Cup. So you can see he's not just engaged in the top players, he's really engaged in what the academy are doing. It's really special to have so many people who have played at the prime connected to the club.
Chris, you've gotten to taken part in a recent program, I think the Elite Formation Licensed Coaching Program. Can you take us through what that program is about and what sort of impact has that had on your development as an up-and-coming coach?
Yeah, I think this course is completely different to any other course that we've taken. The coaches of the course have coached and still coach at an extremely high level, and they kind of strip you down to the bare bones and then rebuild you. So they remove what you think you may have known or what you think you are and rebuild you from the ground up. And it's really focused on teaching you how to be a developer, how to take constructive criticism, how to critique your colleagues. It's a very, very in-depth course and a lot of hard work, but it's very valuable.
Wow, that's I mean, pretty interesting stuff. And I'm sure there are people out there who, see what you've done and your career path and are finding, wanting to find ways to emulate those things so that they can get to that point someday. And I'm curious from the perspective of coaching this next generation, what are some things that you've learned really resonate with this next generation of players who you even said earlier are so passionate and so excited about the game?
Yeah, I think with all facets of learning, I think the players have to know that you care about them. You can be a nice coach, you can be a hard coach, but when I think the players know that the information you're giving them comes from a place of love, they're going to be more responsive to it. And I'm probably on the harder side of coaching, but after a while, the players know that it comes from a place of love and it's trying to push them to increase their boundaries and push their potential to the maximum they can. And they've obviously responded well. I've been coaching just 7 years and won 2 national titles. So when I first got into it, I was testing to see if I had the talent, just like being a player. I wanted to see if I had the talent as a coach. And I think in the infancy of my coaching stage, I think I've shown that, and I want to continue to develop and grow and see how far it takes me.
Well, seeing the impact you've had on Benjamin Cremaschi and what Chris isn't telling you is a very good relationship with him, and he's won 2 MLS Next trophies with Weston and Inter Miami. So if you can do that with Benja, the ceiling and the sky is worth the limit, excuse me.